Hello sir, today I'm going to talk about IP addresses, subnet masking, various classes of IP addresses, how IP addresses have come to an point, the various classifications that are available. Before moving on to IP v4 in detail, first we will see about what are all the IP address classifications that are currently available. There are two IP addresses, one is your IPv4 and then IPv6, which was recently developed in 1998. So IPv4, the need for IPv6 came in because IPv4 hadn't constraint of the number of IP addresses it can accommodate to. Now that the system is growing very rapidly in this internet era, so having an IP addresses within range of just 2 to the power 32 might result in lacking or shortage of IP addresses, which is why they have invented IPv6. For today's assignments, we will we will explain more about IPv4. An IPv4 address is basically divided into two different parts. We can classify them into two different parts. One part which will talk about network, the other part which will talk about host. This is how an IP address will be defined. When I'm saying an IP address, it will give me the information about both the network as well as the host information. That is how a well-defined IP address would look like. Moving on with the subnet mask. Why is there a need for a subnet mask? IP addresses allows or helps us to identify the number of devices which are there in the network. When it comes down to subnet mask, it allows us to define different networks in a particular network. Say for example, if I have to have 2 or 3 clusters or even n number of clusters defined in one particular network, defining them to have two different classes of IP addresses. That is all possible only with the subnet classification which will occur. What does a subnet usually contain? It contains actually two parts. One part which will talk about the network in which this IP address has to flow through. The other one is the host address, where it will define, okay, this is where the range of IP addresses are lying to which the IP packet should be sent. IPs are basically, yeah, they're not much reliable because they are packet senders basically. So that's the reason we went in for protocols of TCP and UDP, where we had to have a reliability of what is being sent. IP addresses, one usually just send packets and gets acknowledgement. If it doesn't have a successful acknowledgement, it's going to say, yeah, okay, I failed. So that is the reason we went in for TCP and UDP. Now let's move on with more in details about IP addresses. IP addresses version 4, they have 5 different classes, which is class A, class B, class C, class D and class E. When it comes down to class A, it is 2 to the power 7, class B is 2 to the power 16,384 and class C is 97,152. D is not defined. D and E are morely used for broadcasting and R&D inferences. We will be dealing more in terms of A, B and C alone in the real world. When it comes to class A is the one which has the range from 0 to 127. When I'm saying 0 to 127, this is the IP address again is classified into 4 different octets. It is an 32-bit IP address, so it is divided into 4 different octets, 2 to the power 4. So it's like 4 different octets which are defined, and IP addresses are always written in binary format, which is then converted into a decimal format for easily readable by human beings. So class A will fall for 0 to 127. The other 3 parts of the IP addresses, the other 3 octets of the class A will contain the host information. So the network part for class A will be left only in the first octet. I'll provide this information here. So class A, the first part is network part, the next 3 parts are the host part. Now class B is in combination from 128 to 191. So there the first bit of your class A, which was 0, will be converted into 1. So that is how we define the B class, saying that the first octet will be all ones. followed by 0, which together will form the network, and then the next two octets will form the host address. So when I am saying a 0 here, that means when I am removing or when I want an IP address to be assigned out, I have to borrow one from the network part and then I'll assign it to the host part, through which the IP address calculation will happen in terms of converting it from binary to decimal. I'll show that later. For C class, it is 192 to 223. First 3 bits forms a network part, the other part becomes the host part. Now class D is 224 to 239. The first 3 parts will all be ones. The last part, which is the host part, will be 0. This all I'm talking about binary format of how IP addresses will be. E, all the 4 octets will be in terms of 1. E is something which is currently not highly progressed or highly not used mostly. D is also for it's meant mostly for broadcasting of messages. So this is all about how classes and how IP addresses are formed. Now let's move on. Now this format of having an IP address definition or defining an IP address by borrowing one bit, or having an IP address defined into a decimal format, this is all called as CADR format. I'll show you that in the notebook. Let's start again. So when I have 8 for class A, it is going to be 0.0.0.0. This is how the binary format will be. I'm not putting all 8 zeros here, so for easy reading. For class B, what happens is it will be as 8 times 1. There's 8 times 1 followed by zeros 8 times and then 0 0. This is class B. Now defining an IP address in class B, how will it form? Say for example, I'm going to define an IP address where it states that it is in class B, so it should have a combination starting from 128 to 191, and again those two addresses of 128 and 191 will be left out because 128 will form for network address and 191 will fall for broadcasting of addresses. So leaving that, we will have only together the number of IP addresses will come down, leaving these two addresses together. So in that I have to make changes in the class B. So all these octets, all the octet forms will have to be modified or will have to be calculated using the CADR format to give an IP address for class B. Okay. Now we'll go on with the assignment wherein I'll talk about how and subnet IP addresses are being done, more detail there. Before moving on to Cisco Packet Tracer, as usual, I will first define the topology in which I'm going to follow this assignments. So I'm going to have 2 different routers and 2 different switches connected to 6 different systems. I'm going to keep it simple instead of making it complex, having more addresses together. So I'm going to try to keep it simple so that the concept gets on clearly. For the first router, for this part, there are 3 different scenarios which will be covered in this assignment. The first scenario where I'm going to have a packet traversed from system 1 to system 3 within the same subnetwork. That means I'm not going to have change in the subnetwork. I'm not going to have any change in terms of the network. It will be a single network. The subnet also will be same. So there will be no involvement of router at all. When it comes to the second scenario wherein I'm going to have same network, but I will have 2 different destination or 2 different subnets altogether. So what I'm going to do is, in this topology I'm going to divide the subnets into 2 and then we'll do it. And then for the third, I'm going to complex it in such a fashion that I'm going to have class A defined for this particular network, and I'm going to have a class C definition for this network. So I'll have a combination of routers which will talk to 2 different classes altogether, 2 different subnets. Subnets again divided into 2 there. So it will be like 2 different classes, 4 different subnets which are going to talk here. Let's do it in the Cisco Packet Tracer directly. Start over again. Okay, as I said, first let me put down the end devices. I'm going to have 6 different PCs. So it will be as 1 and 2, 3, 2 and 3. And then they all will be connected to end switch. I'm going to pull in 2960 here. From the switch, I'm going to connect them to 2 different routers. I'm pulling 2901. So that I'll have a serial bit and gigabit ports such that I'll not have much differences. Before giving the end connections and all, I'll have to first configure the router. So as visible, the router is not having a serial port. It is only containing gigabit Ethernet port. So what I'm going to include a serial port so that I can have a connection between 2 different routers altogether. Now if I connect, I'll not be able to connect 2 different routers in an with the different class forms. So if I have to achieve different class forms, I'll have to have a serial port on. So first, as usual, we have to switch off the router before having an configuration getting inside. So I'm going to pull in a serial port, switch on the router. I'll leave the router to configure automatically. Similarly for router 1, I'm going to switch off the router, pull down HWCI23 for serial port and then switch on the router. Okay. When the router gets auto configured, let's establish the end connections. For end connections, it is all these devices which are displayed out here can be connected through a copper straight through. I'm going to use an automatic choose connection type so that it doesn't get done. So from switch 0 to PC0, PC1 and PC2. And from switch to router. Similarly from switch 1 to PC3, PC4 and PC5, and from switch to the router. Now after defining the routers, it should have got auto configured by this time, so we will connect both the routers together. It will fall under serial route. So you see the Giga Ethernet port will fall to switch and serial port will fall to the routers. I'm fast forwarding a bit so that it gets auto updated. Now before moving on to the assignment of how subnets and how packets will be traversed, let's configure the systems first. So for the PC0, I'm going to give in an IP address. As I said, I'm going to give in different classes of IP addresses. So I'm going to give in a class A IP address for the system or the system networks which are defined to my left side of it. So I'll give in as 10.3.2.4. I'm sorry. As visible, the subnet mask which is getting auto updated here came up only with one particular octet. It did not come up with all the 4 octets. Why? Is because class A has one network, all the other 3 will go to host destinations. That's the reason you will see only 255 as the subnet mask here. Default gateway, I'll not do it here before I actually configure the router. So I get to the practice of configuring the router first and then only provide the default gateway. Similarly for PC1, it'll be as 3.2.2. Sorry. Similar for subnet mask, only one single octet will get updated. 10.3.2.5. Now IP addresses are configured here. Now the first scenario wherein we have to send a packet from one system to another system within the network. As visible, I have not set the default gateway. That means I am not imposing any of the router information to the systems. But still, we can see there will be a packet transmission which will happen from PC0 to PC2. I'll just drop a packet to show. See, it went successful. This is because the IP addresses and the subnet mask has a definition saying that, okay, I am having the same class of IP address, I am having a same subnet mask. So when the packet is picked up, it will verify for the headers where it can see it belongs to the same network, it belongs to the same subnet. So it doesn't search for a router to pass through. So what happens is, I'll show you in simulation format. Sends a packet from PC0, goes on to the switch, and then finding out it is in the same network, it will just go on to the PC2 directly. There is no router involvement here at all. Acknowledgement will be received now. So this forms the first scenario. Now let's do the second scenario, wherein I'm going to divide the subnets into two different subnets and have a packet transferring from one particular subnet to another subnet, or two different networks. Sorry, same network but two different subnets together. So before that, I'll have to configure the IP addresses. For PC3, since the third part of the assignments will have a complex PD going forward, so I'll assign a class C here. 2.4. The subnet mask as visible for class C will have 3 octets classified to one particular network. Default gateway, again I'm going to wait in. And desktop again. Yes, 192.168.2.1. Now, whatever I did now is like IP configuration directly. I did not divide the subnets as visible. You can see that it will be as 0. When I have to divide a subnet into two different subnets, what happens is, subnets are classified in terms of 2 to the power, or 2 to the power of whatever happens. So in one particular octet, there are 8 ones which is available. I'll show you in the notepad. So it's like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it is 8 ones which are actually there in one IP address, the binary format. So when I'm telling that I'm going to divide it into two different octet, the octet I'm going to divide it into 2, this forms an address of 256. Why? Because it is 0 to 255, so the number of IP addresses will be as actually 256. So when I'm dividing them into two different subnets, what happens is I have to calculate something for which I should borrow only 1. When I'm borrowing 1, I'm actually borrowing 2 to the power 1. Just 2 to the power 1 is 2. So 256 divided by 2, which will form as 128. So similarly, if I'm going to divide the subnet into 4, what happens is 2 to the power 4. So I have to divide 256 divided by 2 to the power 4 will be 32. So the division will become as 32. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the subnet mask as 128 here, which is, that's the way I'm telling that I'm having a change in your subnet mask. And again, in this IP address, I'm going to make this IP address to 130 instead of having an, this is until both the systems I was giving an IP address which was falling under 128. Now I'm dividing the subnet into two different subnets, so I'm going to having an IP which is above 128, but still my subnet mask will define or will remain same as 128. This is because even though you're dividing the subnets into two different parts, you don't have a definition where you're saying that from until 128 forms under this subnet, under 128 forms under this subnet. The routing table, which has the calculation part, will understand there are two different networks seeing the 128 bit at the last. Now, if I drop a packet from PC3 to PC5, ideally it will fail because it will not know where to route it. I'll show you that. In previous, when we had just formatted from PC0 to PC2, it was able to take the traverse direct. It was able to take the packet directly. That happened because it knew that it is falling under the same network and the same subnet. That's why it went in. Now here this is failing because these are two different subnets altogether. So when there are two different subnets which are all together, it needs a router involvement. Router involvement will be required to say that okay, this subnet is falling under which network. So for that traverse, we need to first define them in the router. I'll first give the Giga Ethernet port. Port status is 1. This is a class C router. That's the reason you're seeing on class C IPv4. See the subnet mask which came in. It is just 3 times 255. Now serial port is the port where I'm going to have two different routers talking to each other. So here, and I'm trying to establish two different classes also talking to each other. So I'm going to have a serial port which will have a class A IP address. See the subnet mask. See here the subnet mask is 255 alone. It is not 255.255.0. But in Giga Ethernet you can see the 250. The octets or 3 octets are getting populated. Okay, so that's the difference here. Now routing table, let's do it later. We'll define the routers first. Here also again for Giga Ethernet, I'll put the status as on. This is then class A IP address, okay? 3.2.1. Only one thing will come up, and for serial, this serial I'm going to have in class class A again. 28. Now we are done with this. Now second, we have to define the routers to know what is your next destination should come in. So for that, in the static routing table, I'm going to say that this has to traverse to an endpoint where it can have a classification to class C also. So it will be as 192.168.2.0. Class C, hence 3 octets should be updated. This is the other one where I had included. So now the router is done. Similarly for router 1, static network, it has to accept in class A. So it is 10.3.2.0 via it will be as 20.3.3.2. Now for masking, this subnet masking, ideally when we see with a blank eye, we will think that this is gonna accept in class A, it is gonna go to in class A again. But the subnet mask, I have to define the subnet mask here to contain class C also, because this is a class C router which is gonna be there. So it should have a traverse between class A and class C complex together. So if I define the router with only a subnet mask of class A, which is 255.0.0, it will not allow a class C packet to traverse through it. So in order to allow a router to allow both class A and class C together, my octet should be an class C octet. Okay, I hope I made the point clear there. This is an class A network, this is an class C network. My router here should have the capability to accept class A as well as class C packets together. That's the reason we are giving a subnet mask which will allow class A as well as class C together, altogether. Okay, now let's see the packet. This is scenario 2. So I'm checking the router configuration first. So from PC5 I'm setting it to router. Okay, now this failed because I have not defined the default gateway still. Previously, without even defining a default gateway, it went through because it need not go to a router at all. Here this doesn't know where to go. This is a different IP address where it has, this is a separate subnet where it doesn't know where to go. That's the reason the default gateway is required, and we have to define this is the routing table to which you should be going. So it is 192.168.2.1. Similarly for PC zeros also, let me configure, because for the second scenario I will have to make changes there. I'm doing it now itself. Sorry. Now let's test the packets. From PC5 I'm trying to route it to the router. As you can see, it is being successful because now it knows through which router it should pass through. So if I have to send a packet from PC3 to PC5, what happens ideally is it has to pass through a router, find out to which subnet it should actually traverse the router, and then it should come down to PC5. So let's check that. PC3 to PC5 and dropping a package, and it is successful. I'll show it in simulation format as in how it went. Instead of just traversing from a switch to PC5 directly, what will happen is it will traverse to the router first, find out that this is where the subnet or this is where the IP address is lying, and then only again from the switch it goes on to the second PC. So PC5. That's why you see and successful. And acknowledgement back again. From switch again to serial. I'll fast forward a bit, and then it will be unsuccessful. So this is the second scenario wherein we have two different subnets or like various subnets in one particular network through which it is going to be traversing. So the need for router, I think I have made it very clear. Now coming back to the third scenario wherein we are going to have different packets. I'm going to have in different classes altogether, different subnets, and from one particular network to the other network, in which also there is a classification of different subnets together. So I'm going to have a packet traversing from PC0 to PC5. So PC0 is class A, this is class C. In class C also this is a second division of the subnetwork. This is not the first division of the subnetwork. So class C. Let's see how does it go. From PC0 to PC5. PC0 to switch, from switch to router 0, which will find out this is where the router has to go through to. Fast forward a bit. Okay, now it has found that it doesn't go to this network. So what happens is it finds out the next route. From the next route it goes on to the next router. Here this router is going to accept class A as well as class C. That's the reason you are able to traverse from this router to this particular PC, which is your destination or the host which has to reach. Acknowledgement would be sent back now. means a packet has been traversed successfully. Thank you.